We know the law can be confusing, but we are going to break it down for you. Stay with us, because this could save you from getting into trouble. Even if you already are, this could help you stay out of more trouble in the future. The juvenile sexting law looks a bit like a pyramid. The lowest level is called a civil infraction. Let's take a look at that. A juvenile could be charged with a civil infraction if he or she sends an explicit image of him or herself to another person who wants it, or keeps a picture after they receive it. That's right, even if all parties agree, that is, they consent, it's still a civil infraction. The penalty for a civil infraction is participation in an educational prevention program, like the one you are taking now, or a fine of up to $50. Here's how it might look in real life. Here's a group of friends. From left to right, Ryan, Sunny, Jade, and Alex. Sunny and Jade are 17. Sunny sent a nude picture of herself to Jade on her phone a few weeks back. Sunny was reenacting a celebrity post she saw online. She sent it because Jade thinks it's funny and asked her to share it. Jade didn't delete it. She and Sunny look at it and laugh every once in a while. Even though they consented to share the picture, by law, they have both committed a civil infraction. See if you have an understanding of the law. Answer these true or false questions by clicking on the correct button. You are correct. Even if your friend asks you for a picture, it is a violation of the law to send it if you are under 18. By the way, friends don't ask friends for nude pictures. Correct. Even if you and your friend consent to share pictures, it is against the law. You can't send or receive them, and you can't keep them if they are sent to you. That's right. Even if you consent to sharing images and don't show them to anyone without permission, you are still in violation of the law and can face a penalty. If you ever receive pictures without your consent, it's not your fault and you won't be in trouble. Moving up our pyramid in the legal system, the next most serious charge after a civil infraction is a petty offense. Let's take a look at some facts that could result in a petty offense.
The thing that separates a petty offense from a civil infraction is consent. Having a nude pic is never a good idea. But if you get it and keep it without permission, it's criminal. The reason is that you are invading the privacy of the person in the picture. Remember that funny nude picture that Sunny shared with Jade a few weeks back? Imagine that without Sunny's permission, Jade shares the picture with their friends Ryan and Alex. Ryan is 15 and Alex is 17. If Ryan and Alex don't report the image to law enforcement, including a school resource officer, or delete it within 72 hours of seeing it, they have committed a petty offense. The penalty for a petty offense could be a fine or probation. If Ryan or Alex are collecting pictures, they could get into worse trouble. The petty offense can be raised to a Class 2 misdemeanor if either of them has 10 or more separate images of 3 or more different people. That bumps the penalty potential up to include a fine, detention, probation, or other conditions.
Remember Sunny sexted with Jade. At this point, they have committed a civil infraction. Put yourself in Jade's shoes. What should you do? Click on the box next to one of the options to see what might happen if you made these choices. Good choice. This is not only a good idea to keep your friend safe, but you as well. Deleting the picture within 72 hours of seeing it protects you under the law. All this changes if you receive an image you didn't ask for or that you specifically refused, especially if the picture is of an adult. Don't delete or forward those images, but report them to law enforcement to protect yourself and others. Do the same if anyone is hounding you to send them pictures. You don't have to put up with that. Tell an adult that you trust and ask for help. If you have one, your school resource officer can help you. As we already went over, if you keep the picture longer than 72 hours, you have committed a civil infraction, even if Sonny doesn't mind. Not a good choice. If you keep it, show it, or send it to anyone else without Sonny's permission, you have now committed a criminal offense. You have violated Sonny's trust and opened her up to public humiliation and serious consequences. She trusted you and you betrayed her. You can now face serious legal penalties. Posting someone's image to a public site is a very serious offense. Even if you think your Snap story fades away after 24 hours, others can take screenshots or take a picture of a screen with a separate device and share the picture widely. Nothing you share is ever 100% secure. You could face the most severe legal consequences, up to and including a felony, depending on the circumstances. As you will see, you can cause damage to yourself and to Sonny that you cannot take back. An affirmative defense means that even if you did the thing you are accused of, it is not criminal under the circumstances. Self-defense is one example. You've just heard that deleting an image or reporting it to law enforcement or a school resource officer within 72 hours of seeing it are affirmative defenses to a juvenile sexting charge. So what are two things you can do within 72 hours so you won't be in trouble if you receive a sexual image of another juvenile? You are correct. To avoid criminal responsibility, you must report the image to law enforcement or delete it within 72 hours of seeing it. Understand that this defense only applies to situations in which teens who are at least 14 years old are sharing images with other teens less than 4 years younger than they are. If adults share images with teens, that is a criminal act by the adult and must be reported. It is never your fault when this happens. Never delete those images. Take them to law enforcement or a trusted adult immediately. If you need help, ask an adult you trust. Another affirmative defense to any charge of juvenile sexting is coercion. Coercion means that you were forced, threatened, or intimidated into creating or sharing the image. If that happens, get help immediately from an adult you trust. If someone is pressuring you nonstop, or anytime someone 18 or over contacts you, get help. The law protects you if you are coerced. You've seen how a petty offense can convert to a misdemeanor. Other sharing, referred to as posting, is a misdemeanor outright under the law. This is the most serious charge under the juvenile sexting law. What is posting? The word sounds like making something public or shining a spotlight on it. Posting can be a bunch of things. All of them are criminal and abusive. Posting includes sending an explicit picture or video by text, email, Instagram, Snapchat, or any other social media platform. It even includes simply showing your device to another person with the image exposed. Anytime you share an image from a device that you don't have permission to share, you are posting. That includes posting a picture of someone who thought their behavior was private or couldn't consent, in the shower or while they weren't conscious, for example. You are harming the person depicted in the picture. Click on the button to learn another way that posting an image is criminal. Just as you can't show your private parts to people without their consent, you cannot send a nude photo either. If a juvenile does this without permission, it is also posting. Getting an explicit picture like that can cause someone to feel fear and violation. That is called emotional distress. That's why it's a crime. Never ask someone to send pictures, and never send them yourself. If you don't heed that good advice, certainly never send pictures without permission. Remember that even if you have permission, sending them is a civil infraction.
Remember our friends? When Sunny sent Jade a nude picture, they had both committed a civil infraction. Jade then shared with Ryan and Alex. Ryan and Alex were in possession, so committed a petty offense. But what about Jade? She betrayed her friendship with Sunny when she shared that picture without Sunny's permission. In the least, she's not a good friend. In the eyes of the law, she's a criminal. Jade could be charged with posting, a Class 2 misdemeanor. Sunny could have prevented harm by not sharing her image, but Jade's betrayal is not Sunny's fault. Jade chose to keep and share the image. It could get even worse for Jade. If she posted the picture to cause emotional distress, or to threaten or intimidate Sunny, she could be charged with a Class 1 misdemeanor. That's the highest misdemeanor charge and carries a heavier penalty. Jade could also be charged with a Class 1 misdemeanor if she had already been through the criminal justice system on a prior sexting case, or if she posted 3 or more images of 3 or more different people. You can see that the worse the behavior gets, the higher the charge, and the worse the penalty.
Outside the juvenile sexting laws, parties can be charged with a felony. A felony is the most severe crime that can be charged. Murder and rape are felonies. So is possession of child pornography, which is called sexual exploitation of a child. Prosecutors cannot charge a felony if the juvenile's conduct is limited to the elements described earlier, but can and will charge it if child pornography laws have been violated. Click on the pictures to learn more about the consequences of being found guilty of a felony. People who are found guilty of a felony can be made to register on the sex offender registry, maybe even for their whole life. That restricts where they live and work, and with whom. They might not even be able to live with their younger brothers and sisters. They also have to tell people they have committed a sex crime when they date or apply for jobs. You can imagine how well that goes over. Adults and juveniles who have committed a felony may lose their right to go to school where they want, apply for financial aid for college, serve in the military, have a gun, or vote. Many professions, teaching for example, will not license someone who has committed a sex crime. You could lose your family's ability to live in public housing or receive food benefits. If your immigration status is in question, you could be deported. Even if you don't care about any of that, know that law enforcement will confiscate your phone forever. Courts have a full range of penalties for juveniles who have committed this felony, from years of detention to probation with strict conditions. See if you remember the different types of charges in the sexting law. Assume you are under 18, but at least 14 years old and within 4 years of the person you are sharing with. Click on the line on the right that best matches the story on the left. Posting misdemeanor is the best answer. You can't send nude pictures to people without their consent. The best way to keep yourself safe is to never send naked pictures, especially if you don't know if the other person wants them. You could really disturb them. Try talking to them instead. The best answer is probably civil infraction, since you have both consented to share pictures. If you break up and she asks you to delete them, she has taken away her consent and you must delete them. If you don't, you are in possession without her permission and risk a petty offense. This is classic posting, a misdemeanor.